Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. It's time for Moon Shadows. I'm here with my one and only Ona. Hello, Ona.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing on this beautiful day?
I'm doing pretty good, Getting ready for my trip to the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a real heart space, I have a feeling. No place can be that green and not open your heart.
Yeah, I know. It's just a long ride, I was saying. I can't sit for that long. Oh my gosh, I would be so squirrely.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be squirrely, but hopefully I have uh, an understanding person next to me.
Yeah.
Or no person next to me. That would be even more understanding.
Yeah.
You know,
It'll be,
I don't know how much they pack those flights, across the pond, as it were.
I have no idea. How about
I haven't been out of the country since the 80s, so I don't know.
wow. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, I think getting away from America for a little while
Yeah.
is good because it's just so intense here.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to have any kind of perspective when you're in the middle of it.
Totally.
And I'm in Massachusetts, so I'm not quite in the middle of it the way other people are. I feel bad for people who are really in the middle of this and trying to be like those blue dots in this like sea of red. It's got to be really hard.
Yeah.
Got to be really hard. But today we're going to talk about the new moon, right? In
Yes.
Taurus. In Taurus.
Yes.
And isn't it close? You have Jupiter in Taurus, and in
I
fact, Jupiter
do.
just moved into Taurus today. We're doing this on the day that Jupiter moved into Taurus.
I do. I do have Jupiter and Taurus. I'm at a Jupiter return.
Yay!
16 degrees. Yeah. So much fun.
So it's coming. Michael, my husband, is also born the same year. He's
Yeah.
having Jupiter return this year as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I love Taurus, so more Taurus. I guess Jupiter is the planet of expansion. And we finally have a new moon in Taurus because the last two new moons were in Aries, right? We had
Yeah.
those two at the beginning and at the end. And today we have Jupiter moving in. And then tomorrow we have it squaring Pluto, right? Pluto's sitting there at like 17 minutes, I guess, of at this point of
Gasping.
just sit
Gasping.
there. It's like this is Pluto in Aquarius, like now what you're gonna
His
do.
breath.
Now what you're gonna do, right? So,
Right?
and then of course we have the new moon, and that's at the end of Taurus, interestingly enough. It's at 29 degrees of Taurus.
Yep.
So there's this, I don't know, there's this weird, it almost feels like a time thing, like with Jupiter just moving into Taurus and then the new moon at the end of Taurus. And then maybe Jupiter bringing that new moon energy through the rest of the time that it runs through
Yeah.
Taurus. It'll be
It's a
interesting to
delay. And I think that's great for the new moon, right? Taurus is there's just a little bit of a delay.
well, it's certainly
Taurus
going to take its own sweet time. And I think that's a good thing because I think there's been so much rushing around. Everything is like rush, 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 everything. Like even in the political situation, like we have so many problems right now that we should be attending to, and perhaps we are attending to them, but they're talking about 2024. It's like, what about now? What about being in the moment? We don't have a future without the moment. This is when we have the power.
Yeah.
So as I was saying with the Taurus thing, it's going to be interesting to see when Taurus gets to the degree of this new moon. And that's going to be next May. So we'll see how whatever this new moon is planting.
So
Maybe
it's
it'll
fair
take
to
a
say
year for us to really see it.
it's fair to say like a 1-year cycle is what you can put on your business plan, your personal business plan for the next year.
Right. Well, it can be business, right? It can be, it depends on where it is in your chart. But the thing about Taurus is it's like, what is essential? Like, what is it that you have to put your energy in the thing that gives you the most literal bang for your buck. And I don't mean making money. I mean just what's going to make the biggest impression, right? What's going to create the firmest foundation for you. I think that might be an energy with this as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's in your 12th house, right? Your 12th
Yep.
house. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm planning on moving. So maybe right when Jupiter is around there, I'll finally find the right place. We'll see.
Well, if there is a right place to have, it will manifest for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You just be open. Just say, okay, spirit, where do I go next? You know,
Yeah.
that kind of energy. Because I've tried to have plans like most of my life. I've had a plan.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then I want this, and then I'm gonna do this, and that. And then you find yourself like in a life that doesn't ever go by plan. So I think
Oh
it's
my
a wise thing
gosh.
to just open up to what is
Yeah.
and go with the flow.
Yeah. I think that our generation is willing to neutralize some control.
Right.
I think we have to come to the point where we need to neutralize the control or the plans and stuff like that, because we've learned that, I can't plan a whole lot because a lot of things interfere in the way. I love a plan, I love a schedule, but when I hit that wall, I'm like, all right, you know what? I give up. I used to fight it, right? I used to chip through it. And now it's like, no, you know what? All right, that's your plan. We're good. I'm gonna back up.
Well, I do intend to make a plan. I mean, one of the reasons why one of the reasons why I want to go to Ireland is because I've always wanted to go to Ireland. But I feel like the distance will give me some perspective on my life. Not that my life is bad. I mean, it's wonderful. I love my life. But there are decisions to be made. Like everybody has to make decisions. What's the next step? I was so wrapped up in taking care of my mother for so many years that I couldn't go anywhere. I had to stay where I was.
Yeah.
Which is hard for me because I like to escape. I
Yeah.
like to go off, go on my own. I like to be at my own devices, and I couldn't do any of that. So
Yeah. This is good though. This is good.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm really interested in your stories when you get back about what their perspective is on us.
Yeah.
How they think, feel, and see America outside of being in these, this boundary. I think that's going to be interesting.
Right. So you want to look at the chart?
Yes, because the doozy, there's no air in it. We talked about that.
So I'm just going to use the chart that I used for my week ahead. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's definitely worth a look-see. But
my favorite element is air, and it's like I can't breathe just looking at this chart.
I actually only have one air planet.
Really?
Yeah, my Jupiter in Aquarius.
Okay.
The air in my chart.
Okay,
Otherwise, it's earth and water mostly, and then a little bit of fire. Yeah, I'm very watery, very watery. So here's the new moon in Taurus. This is a chart for the U.S. So, with a Leo rising, and then the sun and the new moon in that 10th house of public standing. Jupiter, I believe, is on Biden's moon right now, because he has his moon at like 0 Taurus, I think. So Jupiter on his moon, that's nice to have, I think. But do you know what is also at 28 degrees of Taurus in the sky around that degree?
no, I can't remember.
It's a constellation.
Oh, Algol.
Yeah, but you know what else? the Pleiades.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Pleiadian.
Taurus is all the Palladian energies. Yeah. It's poking around.
Yeah. So if you're feeling that, you know, and the Palladians are the healers, right? They're the healers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a I remember reading many years ago, I want to say Manzurek, but that's not her name, the woman who wrote the book on the Pleiades. And it was so very harsh. It was hard for me to read because she was saying like all these things that would happen. I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen. I feel like I have to go back and read that book again.
Yeah.
Because she might have been right.
Yeah.
Right. But this is really such a golden opportunity for us to do it differently. It's just this full moon, this new moon, excuse me, is sextile Neptune, which is nice. It's trine Pluto, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's sextile Mars. So there's a lot of potential in this moon to, you know, sort of step by step bring spirit onto the planet. Like it feels to me like there's a sort of a re-inoculation of spiritual forces coming to the planet when we need it the most.
Yeah.
And I do think that this is, we also have, of course, after the full moon, after the new moon, we have Mars moving into Taurus and then opposing Pluto. And then we have this giant, and we can see the giant T-square. I mean, the giant square.
Mars moving into Leo. Yeah.
Mars moving into Leo. But this new moon and this Neptune activate this giant square through sextiles and trines. So there's this energy of like Neptune, like divinity, and then there's the earthly, or as earthly as you can get. I feel like heaven coming to earth is an energy that we can hook into with this new moon. So it's a very, very fraught time with all these squares and the fixed nodes and, you know, Pluto there and Pluto squaring the nodes, and Pluto is going to exactly square the nodes after it moves back into Capricorn, because by that time, the North Node is going to be in Aries and the South Node is going to be in Libra. And that happens in January, I think. I mean, July.
Yeah.
So this is sort of, in a way, a giant culmination going through Taurus and Scorpio. And so I feel like between now to when the nodes actually change, this is like the last bit of stuff that we have to get through. And the choice with the North Node in Taurus is to choose life and to move away from death. And I also think that's why we're seeing so much energy towards the assault weapon ban.
Yeah.
Because people are, you know, they're like, no, we don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And in a lot of the red states, it's the children that are standing up because, of course, they're the ones in the most danger, you know?
Yeah. Interesting.
So the Sabian symbol for this particular new moon is two cobblers working at a table, the twofold character of man's mature understanding. The symbolism of the feet are the symbol of understanding. Understanding differs from your knowledge because it implies at least some degree of identification in depth with what is being understood. That's compassion. That's that Neptune. That's the Neptune part of this. The two cobblers symbolize two contrasting ways of approaching the understanding of an experience. I think that has to do with our dual nature, right? Especially a new experience, and they provide concrete forms which may clothe and protect the understanding. Perspective, the key word is perspective. So that's what we're being asked to have, perspective. And then just one other thing, and then we'll talk about the altar, yeah? just our general experiences, because you've had some pretty amazing experiences. If nobody's caught your Dolly video, you should definitely check that out. It's really, really cool.
So funny. And it's interesting, the perspective is truly the Palladian, Taurian, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's senses, it's how you perceive things, it's how you pick up on your, what channel you're going to tune into, where you put yourself. So interesting.
And the Pleiadian, the Pleiades was what are the 7 weeping sisters.
Yep.
We're in a 7-year.
That's
well.
right.
Yes. And the ruler of course, whenever anything happens, I look to the ruler of the sign that it's happening in, right, in Taurus. So I look at Venus.
Yeah.
And Venus is at 13 degrees of Cancer. A hand with a prominent thumb is held out for study. The power of the will in shaping character. This symbol confronts a person or a situation. It is shown that a strong will is required to face the issues at stake, and the keyword here is character. So, it's about character is we build our character through the challenges we have. And so we've had a lot of challenges. So there's a lot of people with a lot of character right now. And there are a few characters out there as well. So, we've been changed in ways that I don't think we really appreciate, because we're still in this sort of like this stage of like, oh my God, like what's next coming at us. But we've built up quite a reserve, I think, even though we don't feel like it, because we've had to really dig within ourselves to make it through this time.
Yeah.
And I think what is necessary now, at least in my estimation, is freeing ourselves to allow ourselves to be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And to, because Taurus is all about what you value. And so putting what you value out there and putting a value on yourself and self-care. And of course you have to add the feminine, right? Because Taurus is a earth sign, and all earth signs are feminine in nature.
Rulers
and then it's ruled by the planet of the feminine, right?
Yeah. And Venus is very dominant in the sky right now too, in the west.
Oh, beautiful.
So, to talk to Venus. I haven't seen Jack anything because it's been cloudy when I get up at, when I have to call the roosters up
early. Yeah. Earlier than I do, and I get up early.
I look out, like the sky, I go outside. I did see a homeless man pass by today. I go to the back, there's nothing. It's just cloudy sky, cloudy sky, cloudy sky. Venus is supposed to be undeniably Venus in the western sky at night. So she's in charge of this moon.
Well, she's in charge of the North Node too, remember?
And the North Node and
and Jupiter.
She's
in charge of Jupiter.
Oh, so, Jupiter too.
Right. So every time Venus changes a sign, it's influencing that the Jupiter in Taurus. And Venus is going to go through a retrograde cycle, and it's all in Leo.
Yeah.
So this should be very very interesting. Very interesting.
She needs to gather her things now with Jupiter and Taurus, who's going to help her pack to truly, right? Like get your stuff together. Spread it out there. This is what I've got. We've got a year to figure this out. Yeah. And then she changes her, mood every 2.5 days because she's in Cancer.
That's right.
Okay, now we're gonna go for a swim, all right, and then we're gonna get our hair done. It's like
then we're gonna have a snack.
We're gonna have a snack. This is like I have to do this new moon altar at the greenhouse because I will be there right at that moment. I'll probably have one at home too, but that edible portion will probably be like kale, romaine, and
chocolate.
Well, I do have to say, everything is very cinnamony, and I've definitely connected Venus with the cinnamon flavored taste. I haven't had a cinnamon Altoid in a couple days, probably because I don't need one. It kind of overrides everything anyway, and it's probably because it's this all these Taurian energies and my own Jupiter and Taurus, that it's just kind of flavoring everything. And that's Venus.
It's Venus. That's right. That's right. And is it this full?
And she
Isn't
makes
it on a
chocolate taste
Friday?
better. She makes
Isn't
chocolate taste better.
Isn't the new moon on a Friday?
Yep.
And that's a Venus day.
That's a Venus day.
I don't know the hour. I don't know those, but what hour it is. I
She's
guess it
gonna
depends
get
on when you are.
paid. She's gonna get her nails done. Jupiter just dropped in, so she's got to make a big dinner. It's an exciting new moon, and that, and it's got challenges just like every other one. But I think if we can just celebrate the things we have around us now, right?
Well, the most important thing when you're dealing with the most important thing in dealing with life, really, but especially Taurus, is gratitude, because gratitude opens you up to abundance. And the more grateful you are, the more that you get. So having a grateful, abundant, an expectant, like positive expectation is different than expectations, right? Just assume that it's going to be a good thing that comes your way, And I think there's a certain amount of protection in that. I mean, don't walk around half naked in a bad neighborhood or if you're at the rodeo. You can't be silly about things. You have to protect yourself. But there's I think the best psychic protection, honestly, is that energy of having a full heart and knowing that only good things, because the light shines and dispels the darkness. So if you have the light within you, and in esoteric astrology, by what's her name, Alice Bailey, Taurus is where the light is, it's the light within us. It's the light that shines. It's the divine spark within us that sort of grows in the dark, really. We all grow in the dark, and we become more and more enlightened, And that's also an energy in the tree of life of Baina, is finding your light through walking through hell, really. And we've walked through hell.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of light to be shown. So what are you putting on your altar?
Labradorite.
I just happen to have a piece right here. I was showing Miss Ona that I bought this in the 90s, and it was the most money I ever spent on a rock in my life. At the time, I think it was like $180, and I was just starting my practice, and I didn't have a lot of extra money. I think I probably had to eat salad for a week after I bought this, or peanut butter and jelly, but it was worth it. It was worth it, because now, many, many years later, I still have it.
Yeah. It's the earth. I think it's just really the embodiment of earth energy, truly, because you can describe, anybody can see a picture, a landscape in labradorite. And I think maybe that's part of the new moon flavor also, is that to focus, right?
That certainly brings in the Pleiadian energy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, doesn't it look like right?
See, my wing broke off. This is why I didn't watch it. It broke off, but I saved it. And
your angel wing, your own angel wing.
I know my
angel. The other one, yours looks like a sperm and mine looks like an egg, right?
Right. Look at that. That's great. You can't appreciate how rainbowy it is from certain angles. You can, and it'll be on the altar. I always have a piece of labradorite on an altar anyway, because it's one of my favorites. And if I don't, it's earth. It's earth.
Well, my favorite
animals.
Probably one of my absolute favorite stones is moss agate, and I always connect that with Taurus.
Yeah. I found labradorite to help me connect with animals, animal communication, that I discovered that using it, wearing it, that it was easier. It made more sense. I picked up on the hints easier. So I think it's got like all the animal energy in it. And that's our Taurus energy too. We haven't said thank you to the animals lately. I don't think, everything that like feeds us and stuff.
Grateful, gratitude. Gratitude is the keys to the kingdom.
Yep.
So why don't we have a plan.
Yeah.
We're going to both pick a star seed card at the same time and see what we get, right? You ready for that?
Yep.
Okay. So we both have the starseed oracle.
You're not going to believe this.
Okay.
Maybe
Did you
you
get
would.
the Pleiades?
No, I didn't. I got the courageous peony. Remember you said this morning that you were worried about not
Yes.
seeing the peonies this year because you'll be gone at their bloom time. The peonies represent courage, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen.
Oh, wow.
And here they are here too. Although mine were more like poppies, but
we'll call them peonies.
we'll call them peonies. Yeah, I made these today.
Wow, you could have made that look like they belong with those cards, right?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Thank you, Spirit. Boy, that
right. Just all you have to do is listen and follow a little direction. And there you go.
That was impressive. That was very cool of them.
I have the C's of Mintaka. Seeing potential, bringing unconscious to light.
We just talked about that.
Well, the other thing
shine our light, bring the consciousness to light.
The other thing that's happening is when Pluto opposes, when Mars opposes Pluto, that's the culmination, sort of the halfway point of the Mars-Pluto relationship, right? The synodic cycle between them. And what Mars does with Pluto is our unconscious desires. And when Mars comes in and conjoins Pluto, Pluto will seed Mars with an unconscious desire that Mars progresses to become conscious. And then when we have the opposition, the conscious desire is seen.
Okay.
And then it has to be disseminated through the other half of the cycle. The interesting thing about that is that I'm trying to remember the degree of the conjunction of Mars and Pluto was the Pluto of the United States degree. Right. So there's some realization coming. But that like first degree of Aquarius and Leo, right? Where the opposition is happening is the axis of love.
Yeah.
And the next time that Mars conjuncts Pluto, guess what degree it's happening at? 1 degree of Aquarius. Same degree, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Pluto is up, so it comes around. So it may seem very dire out there, but we are moving into the Aquarian age.
Yeah.
We are moving into the Aquarian age. So, and that's just when, exact time, who knows? When we wake up, right? It's not about time, it's about awakening, and the opposition brings the awakening for us. Now, when you're dealing with the Pluto that's in the sky now, it's the world soul. What does the world soul want to show us? What is the world show showing us? The world show is showing that if we want to survive, we have to start loving one another. That's really what the world show is. And so it doesn't matter what this one and that one and who's shooting this. I mean, it matters certainly, but it's more about the love. It's more about finding the connection, right? Because we're all one.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the inclusion of Neptune into this whole energy of this new moon and this time is just so very important.
Yeah. Neptune's going to move into Aries pretty soon, isn't it?
It moves into
27.
2026, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. We got
And
time.
you know the first thing it does? Conjuncts Saturn in Aries. Saturn, Neptune conjunction in Aries.
Okay. 2027.
Starting that Saturn, Neptune cycle, which I think runs, the last time it conjunct, I think, was 88. So it runs about 40 something years or
Okay.
30 something. I can't remember. Can't remember off the top of my head. A lot of stuff up there. Sometimes it gets confused.
A lot of math.
Too much math. Don't ask me to do
Math.
math.
I can't math. It's going to be a really cool moon. It's going to be a cool moon. It feels, if you're feeling things, yeah, because there's a lot in Taurus and there's not a lot in air or any that you can't escape, you know, maybe some stuff in your imagination and Pisces, but I feel like it's a very grounding energy. It's like you don't have a choice. You're on the ground.
We did have that. We just had that Mars Neptune trine that's still in orbs. So there could be some water issue, some water thing. So
yeah. I also got a green candle for the new moon that smells like pine.
I got a candle that I thought was green, but it ended up being blue with green dots on it. But I was like, this is perfect for Taurus. It's green. And then I got outside and I'm like, oh my God, it's blue. How'd that happen? So it's the Pisces energy getting me all messed up.
Both of them. It's like maybe it's a mood candle.
Yeah. It's what I left it downstairs, otherwise I would.
And everything in the labradorite, maybe it was saying those two colors because that green and blue, that's just coming up a lot.
Yeah.
But it is, and invite that as much as you can into, you know, your space, eating green food, wearing something green hair, right?
If you can, not everybody can carry
go to Ireland.
Yeah, it is. I like that.
It's a big theme right now, that frequency. That's what's buzzing in 432. I see the numbers. 432 hertz. So those kinds of things help you get into that frequency. Listening to binaural beats at 432. Feeling that energy for sure.
All right. So we have labradorite, moss agate, green candle, cinnamon.
Yes. Put that in your altar stuff. Venus likes that. Yeah.
And it's on her day. Venus.
It's her day. Yeah.
You know that is my actual 22nd wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah. 22 years ago, Michael and I got married in a garden, of course. My poor family, my Italian family, came all the way from New Jersey, thinking they were going to go to a church, and they're sitting amongst the tulips.
Yeah. Oh, I got married at the zoo.
How very South Node in Sagittarius that is for you.
It was so much fun.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. All
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna be
I
good.
think we've talked about everything we want to talk about. Anything else popping into your head?
I think just, the flowers, the poppies, the symbolism of the poppies around this time to remembrance, hope, hoping for a better future, a peaceful future, putting that, knowing you can manifest that quickly, putting that out there. A
Yeah, because
positive,
we always have a choice. We have a choice of what, I mean, sometimes it's just a choice of how to respond to something.
yeah,
Sometimes it gets down to that point, which I think a lot of people are doing, but
yeah.
there's always a choice.
Also, lilac is really dominant as I look at my shirt that I didn't plan. And maybe I did subconsciously, but that whole I burned some John the Conqueror oil, and that's a lilac flavored thing too. But just to have some of that if you can. It's kind of dying off right now, but the idea of
I
it
have lilacs
brings
on all my,
peace.
yeah, all
Yeah,
my,
I saw the pictures. Yeah. It brings peace into the place. Aromatics, Palladian energy.
I just got an itchy nose.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yep.
nose just started to itch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ona, this was really fun as it always is. So if anybody wants to check out Ona, you can go to Ona's Tarot on YouTube. Of course, I'm Victoria Skirbo from the Seeds of Transformation. Just want to make a quick announcement for my students who are waiting for my second Kabbalah class to happen and a beginner's astrology. I'll be doing that when I get back, of course, from Ireland. So probably not till June, guys. I apologize for it taking so long to make the announcement, but I've been trying to get my stuff together to actually get on a plane and
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Well, as always, Ona, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on Moon Shadows, and I look forward to Moonshine.
Yep.
And I'll be back for that, I think. Yeah, let's see. When's the next full moon?
I don't even know.
Yeah, the third.
Oh
The
yeah.
3rd of June. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Full moon in Sag. That should be fun.
Yeah. Great. I'll probably be working that day. We'll see.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I get back on the 30th, so
Okay.
I get back on the
Bring
30th.
back some rocks.
Oh, don't you know it? I have to have like a special section in my thing just for, maybe I'll bring like snacks, right? And then when I eat all the snacks, I'll have someplace to put the rocks.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
All right, everyone, take care. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Don't worry about anything.